Hey guys, Jess here with CFit Studio. I want to go over a recent experience that I participated in. It was self-induced. My own personal challenge. I went vegan for the month of October. The quick answer is no, I am still not vegan. It did not completely transform me, but it did open my eyes to a few different things. But I wanted to share the experience with you guys because it is fast becoming a more prevalent and more popular lifestyle choice. And I want to go over really what I experienced as an avid meat eater when I made the transition into veganism for that month, the things I enjoyed, didn't enjoy, all that fun stuff. This is not a super comprehensive video. It probably would have been better if I had done a video like every day or every week. I didn't do that, so October's pretty busy for the personal training world, so we were running around. And I was still able to do it. So even though I got busy, it still didn't stop me. That lifestyle change wasn't enough to really make me go out to eat a lot and stuff like that. In fact, I don't even think I ate out once for the month of October. All right, so anyway, firstly, I lost weight. I usually sit around 140. I was 135 by the end of the month, which was cool. I noticed some of the few things right off the bat. I could eat a lot more food and still lose weight, which is super cool for someone who loves to eat. I did find that as full as I could get, eat a ton of food, I never felt heavy. I would feel like, man, I ate a lot of food, but I wouldn't necessarily feel weighed down. If you eat a really heavy turkey Thanksgiving dinner, right, which is coming up, usually we're like, oh God, I'm full, tired. Basically I'd be like, oh my God, I ate so much, why'd I do that? But it was never like an energy drop because I ate so much. I noticed that I was pretty joyous and energetic. I slept better, my mood was better. I experienced no lag in any of my workouts. Drum roll. Until about halfway into the month, then I started noticing that my energy levels were beginning to drag. I was still energetic, but I was more tired faster. My strength struggled in my workouts, but my cardio got better. Might be the fact of that I wasn't super heavy feeling. It's easier to go fast and hard if you don't feel like you're heavy. Now, I want to point out that this does not mean vegan options are not good and that you shouldn't look at that lifestyle. I am not proficient and educated enough to make that assumption or declaration, even being a fitness professional as I am. This is literally just my experience. Now, if you guys have all watched The Game Changers, which is that documentary that basically goes over how a vegan diet can help athletes perform better, harder, faster, stronger, longer, all that fun stuff. Their science, I've done a lot of hours of research into this, listened to a lot of hours of podcasts, talked with the dietitian, all that fun stuff. But overall, the claims that film and documentary make, it's true. The key, though, is that all of their claims fall utterly flat if you take out the words well planned. When they say you can do all of these great healthful things, athletic things, performance things, it's all on a well-planned vegan diet or plant-based. If you say the word vegan, it's actually connotative to a lot of things like I don't use leather, I don't use honey, I don't do anything with any byproducts at all with any animals, whereas plant-based is more like you eat plants. You might still use honey because the plant, the bees don't die. That depends on how level of your vegan, you are, what scale, I don't know. Again, that's getting a little convoluted. But the point is their argument is valid so long as you are able to have a well-planned vegan diet, because when you eat a vegan diet, and this is definitely more involved for the dietitian to step in, the access to the macro and micronutrients are a little bit more challenging because you kind of have to pair foods. Now, as our dietitian Jean would tell you, you eat beans, which has a certain amount of the amino acids, but not all 8 or 9. I keep forgetting if it's 8 or 9 essential amino acids that you need to make a complete protein to create the building blocks, right, of the body and the muscle. You eat the beans, your body doesn't lose those amino acids, so later that day you eat the rice, and then they combine, and then there you go, you got your full protein. So you don't really necessarily have to eat them all in the same meal, just try to get them in the same day. Recent research has showed me that it's best within about a 2-4 hour time frame, so within breakfast, lunch, or breakfast snacks, something like that, because then the body starts storing it. Don't know that's again a little bit more dietitian ballpark. But the point is it took a lot of effort and planning on my part, and I am already very, very well versed in spending a lot of time each week prepping my meals and cooking and thinking in advance of food. The one negative I felt is that I could never not think about food. Like, I already think about food. I'm in the middle of eating my oatmeal in the morning and I'm already thinking about lunch. I'm already thinking about dinner. I'm already like, yeah, because I love to eat. You know, food's delicious, you know, but it was so involved that I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure that I have these things paired together, and if not paired together, then at least in this day, and is that enough protein? Am I getting enough calories? Am I eating too many carbs? Because I did find on a vegan diet, it was very easy to overeat carbs. One day I think I just got overzealous, I don't know. I ended up having like 2,500 calories and I only had about 40 grams of protein. So that was not a very well planned day, you know, but that was the biggest thing. And so with my original experience, you know, I started feeling really good and I slept really good, felt really good. And then when the tiredness started and a little bit of the strength struggle started, I think that's because as well as I did with my planning, it still wasn't well planned enough. You know, I didn't sit down and think, okay, what really do I need to make sure that I put together? And I think really if you're going to go for the vegan lifestyle, you have to at least do that a couple times so that you can figure out, ballpark it, and know in your mind, looking at something, yes, this has all the nutrients that I need. Because whenever you start something new like this, it's going to have a learning curve. You know, it's going to feel super hard at the beginning, and then all of a sudden you're going to peter out and you're going to get your sea legs, and then you're going to just do a bunch of it without even thinking about it. It's called habits, right? You know, and you don't even realize it. So I am not discrediting and I'm not discounting and I'm not bashing veganism at all. I am saying that for those who are considering it or who want to try it or just randomly try it, like do a month here or there, whatever, know that it does take additional planning, and it was a little bit of a challenge even for me, who's already very well versed in planning. That said, that does not mean don't do it because it's hard. I'm tired of people going, oh, it's hard, and that means you don't do it. Nope, that's not what that means. That just means it needs a little bit more effort. So some of the other things that I've felt and experienced on my vegan month is as much as I could eat, which was, I will say, that's freaking awesome, that I could just keep eating all this food and still lose weight. I was pretty bloated all the time, and I did have a decent amount of gas, but it, thankfully, not all of it that smelled. Some of it did. But it was cool, so that part sucked, but it was cool that I could eat all that stuff. But again, I still lost weight even though, and I think it was just a matter of adjusting your gut. So your gut will get used to eating, digesting certain things, right? And speaking of, we have an upcoming gut health workshop, so be on the lookout for that, led by our wonderful dietitian, Jean Maxwell. But anyway, so it needs to create the enzymes for you to digest certain foods. And if you rarely eat certain foods and then you all of a sudden, like, you know, up your fiber because, like, hello, vegan diets, or I should say plant-based, because technically Oreos are vegan. Those are horrible for you. Don't eat them just because they're vegan. So tons of fiber, right? If you're not eating a lot of fiber and then all of a sudden you eat a ton of fiber, your gut's going to be, what the heck did you just do, right? So obviously I was a little patient with that because as much as I eat beans and rice and all that jazz, in comparison to what I ate while the vegan month versus what I normally eat, it was a massive amount of fiber. I already eat a lot of fiber, but in comparison, no, I mean, so much fiber. So I think my gut was just like, whoa, you know, and it was fine. And like I said, it was good. The food was amazing. I never once really had any trouble finding anything delicious. And there were a couple times that I was making a little bit more involved prep of a meal, and Tim didn't want to make his own dinner because he didn't know what to do with the fact that he couldn't really cook for me, so he's like, just make me some of that. And I was like, okay. There's been several things where Tim's like, we can totally have this again. And even since then, you know, it's actually, I already ate a lot of vegetables, but since the vegan month ended, I am eating even more plants, and I actually find myself craving, like this last Monday, I ended up doing a meatless Monday without even meaning to, and I actually find that I'm craving some meals with tofu in it, which is weird. You know, I still want my meat, and this is me specifically. I still like my eggs, but I'm being a little bit more selective on the quality of my meat if I am gonna eat it, you know, because my reason for doing this wasn't an ethical reason. This was all based on health, so that's a whole nother conversation. I'm talking strictly on health. Now, another thing to go on with the health thing about that, right? So with a vegan diet, it being harder to get some of the more micro and macronutrients, mostly macro, and some of the vitamins, you know, got the vitamin B12 and D and vitamin K, you know, got these major guys that are well known that, oh, if you're going to be vegan, you're going to be deficient in them. And I want to say, again, this is the dietitian's ballpark, but I'm going to go out on a leg and she can totally tear into me if I'm wrong. But that is true. It is going to be harder. The B12 that you can get in a lot of the plants that you can consume and stuff like that, it's harder. It's not as bioavailable as getting it straight from a animal. However, that said, because of the way we design our food nowadays, well, kind of, you know, with the genetically modified and the inorganic stuff and all the crap that we're spraying on it, like an apple today doesn't anywhere have the amount of nutrients that an apple 1,000 years ago had. So when you keep that in mind and you look at the stats of it, meat eater or vegan, doesn't matter. So many people are deficient in B12. So many people are deficient in vitamin D. Like sometimes docs can even just recommend people take vitamin D just because everybody's deficient. So you might as well take it, you know, even if labs are good. That's a whole other story, but that was an actual experience that someone I know went through, you know, and it's, so the point is that just because that's common in a vegan diet doesn't mean that it's not common in a meat eater diet either, okay? Because we're all struggling to get those vitamins because with the way our food is now and the way the conventional farming for the meat is and everything like that, it's not the way nature originally intended it. We're missing some vital stuff. So we're gonna need supplements regardless. Now that said, I was taking a vegan vitamin. I take one every day and I started long before the month of October and it has only 9 things in it instead of like a multivitamin that's like, here's all this stuff that you don't need. And it's basically designed around the modern diet and all the things that are missing from our food that were there 1,000 years ago. And it's the activated form of the vitamin, which is great, which means your body doesn't have to break it down. It can just take it and use it, you know, so that was good and that was helpful and I feel great on that. And I like that it's vegan because, again, I am a meat eater. So just because I'm a meat eater doesn't mean, and this is also for all you meat eaters, doesn't mean that your protein needs to come from meat. That just means that you eat meat. It does. I actually strongly recommend, and so does the dietitian, obviously, that you spread your protein sources around. Don't get it just from legumes and grains, you know, don't get it just from meat. It's spread it out, you know. Anyway, so that was a little bit of a tangent. One other thing that I experienced during my vegan month, and then I think this is about all I can really remember, is that I would get full quickly, you know, regardless of what the food was that I ate. I would eat it and I would get full and I would be happy and I'd be good to go pretty quickly. That said, I would also get hungry faster. I eat a lot anyway. If you talk to any of my friends or coworkers, I'm always eating, I'm always snacking on something. Times that by 2 or 3 when I was on the vegan month. I was eating all the time. I did find myself relying on some shakes a little bit more often, and I do prefer whole food, but sometimes when you're just running, you need a shake, and with modern day society, that was helpful. But I did always kind of feel a little bad because I wanted to know what it was really like to be a vegan in this modern world, and maybe that's what it is. You know, sometimes you can pretty much eat whole food and get all your nutrients. You just got to think about it a little bit. But at the same time, when you're running, you might not have the prep time because it does take a little bit more. So you might use a shake. I don't know. This is just my experience. I intend to do it again. I enjoyed it. I definitely am eating more plants. That was my whole point. I wanted to get practice. And again, it's all about practice. And if you are eating the standard American diet right now, meaning you swing by fast food, you eat those processed stuff, you eat bread, you eat pasta, you're eating out of boxes, you're eating frozen meals, that's called the standard American diet. And if you look at that acronym, that means it's SAD. And it is sad, and it's very bad for you. So when you make the transition to a healthier diet, whether you're doing mostly veggies and you're using beans and legumes, and grains, you know, for your protein and seeds, whatever, or if you're a meat eater, you know, just be patient with yourself and just know that it's going to take some figuring out, you know, don't expect to get it right away and just be diligent. You know, there were a couple nights where I won't lie, I was angry and I just wanted to freaking sit down on the couch, but no, my health is more important than my temporary anger. So I did what I needed to, and then when I did sit on the couch, I had an amazing meal. So I definitely felt like it was worth it. And we just need to remember that in the moment when our emotions try to get the better of us, because, you know, our hearts will swing back and forth, you know, based on how we're feeling. So we really have to listen to our logical mind when it comes to stuff like this. All right, y'all have a great day. If you have any questions, want to ask me more about what my experience was, please feel free. That is why I'm doing this video. If I confused you about anything, please let me know. If it makes you want to explore this option a little bit more, you know, to kind of figure out how to make it work for you so you don't experience what I did, because again, I didn't plan as well as I should have. So it started off great, and then I started petering out, and I really don't think that's because I went vegan for that month. I think it's just because I didn't plan it as well as I should have. So, but if you're considering that, definitely let us know. Dietitian is well versed in this, and she can help you out. Have a great day, guys. And again, we do have an upcoming gut health workshop. Look for it. We're going to start blasting, you know, the social media walls and stuff like that. It's definitely worth considering, and it just kind of goes in, and the dietitian will lead it, the ins and outs of what makes your gut healthy, why you should care, you know, and everything that's linked to the gut. We don't like to talk about the guts, you know, but if that's messed up, really our entire health is, you know, including our joy, you know, down to just how we feel. So anyway, y'all have a great day. Hit us up. Have a wonderful time, and get your workout in. Don't forget that. All right, bye.